cave dive was in Cenote Pet Cemetery, near Puerto Aventuras in Yucatan. It is located some distance to the jungle behind Cenote dos Ojos. I was diving with a friend, Ella Bertoni of Cave Heaven. We entered the cave by lowering our gear down what looked like a well, which opened to a large dry cave with a very nice deck for setting up our gear. We both would be diving side mount. Ella was using the new Z system recently developed by UDT. She dove in a dry suit. I, with my own natural insulation, wore a 3mm and dove the armadillo rig from Gollum Gear. As we left the cavern line, Ella pointed out the bones of animals that had been discovered in the cave, probably the origin of the name of the cenote. Our plan was to take the X line from the cavern, then cross over to the Diaz line, then to the Blue Abyss, a pit which dropped to below 200 feet. Our average depth would be about 40 feet through much of the dive. The crossover from the X line to the Diaz line would take us through some minor restrictions and at least one major restriction, which meant that I would have to remove equipment to work to squeeze my body through a tight passage. The distance to our destination was about 2,500 feet of penetration. The total dive would be 110 minutes, using rules of thirds for our breathing gas. As luck, and frankly poor preparation would have it, I had not recharged the battery in my primary dive light in over 3 dives. My light failed literally over the abyss. In the darkness, I could tell by the pressure increase that I was descending. I increased my buoyancy, careful not to drop my camera in the process, as our gas mix would not allow us to descend to retrieve it from the cave floor. I used the modeling light on my camera strobe and set the camera on the shelf. I then switched to one of my backup lights. I had reached my turn pressure and called the dive, and on the return I became stuck in one of the smaller restrictions. It required me to release air from my wing to be able to wiggle free, which immediately put me in 0 visibility. A good time to say a little prayer, gather one's thoughts, and reassess my approach to the restriction. On returning to the cavern, we jumped the line leading to the main cenote, again seeing some interesting bones, and this time a very beautiful well-lit exit. This is Dan Anderson, AB8CD on Cave Divers Forum. Safe diving and stay well.